YouTube friends and family. Welcome to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader. So this morning, it's going to be an extremely hot and humid day, but a cool down is on the way. So for Southwest Ohio, even, we have had an extraordinary hot, dry summer. But I want to tell you, I have had an overabundance, and I do mean an overabundance of herbs that grew in my veggie pod. So this morning, I thought, you know what? I need to get busy, get some of those herbs harvested. I've actually done 7 dehydrator cycles, which I have 2 dehydrators, so that's 14 dehydrator full of various herbs and vegetables, trying to finish up the harvest season. So I have here some oregano I want to share with you. This is that pretty oregano? So I am going to spread these out in a single layer. Let me fix you here on my dehydrator tray. And I try to be super careful not to get any bad pieces in, but I have found that herbs that are on a stem like this are far easier to dehydrate, stem on, and then simply strip them from the stem. But you do need to make sure that everything that's going into the dehydrator is something you want to eat. So I have a Magic Mill food dehydrator. That's about how full I'm going to fill it, because I am leaving stems on. So it looks like I'll have about 2 trays of this herb, and then I have a ton of sage. You know, I just wanted to pose this question to y'all. Do you ever get harvest weary? Like, you start to get to the end of the season and you're like, honestly, I can't can one more thing. I can't process one more thing. And I have been watching a channel on YouTube, and I'll have to leave a link in the description box below because the name escapes me. But it's basically the philosophy of making every bite count. So everything you can get from your garden, you should preserve and do something each and every day towards your goals of preparing for winter, if you experience winter where you live, or just the upcoming months. So that's what I keep telling myself. Just prepare, just prepare. I have, honestly, some of the most beautiful sage. Look at this, that I have ever grown. Sage is one of my favorite herbs. And as I was harvesting, I thought, maybe I need to make some herb bread, because I have a feeling that I am going to need bread in the next couple days. And I made some pumpernickel. And so let me share it with you. And I really like it, but I may end up freezing the end of it because pumpernickel has a very unique flavor, and it doesn't always suit well for every single time you want to eat it. Is that a gorgeous loaf of pumpernickel? And oddly enough, guys, you know what makes the beautiful dark color? Black cocoa powder. And you would think it would taste like chocolate, but I'm telling you, it doesn't. It smells like chocolate, but it does not taste like chocolate. So this was a rye, pumpernickel, and sesame seed bread. Whew, having trouble talking this morning. So I'm going to continue to layer all of my herbs onto this tray, get my dehydrators running, and then I'll bring you back and we are going to make a loaf of bread out of the Bread Machine cookbook, because I did a little perusing, and there is a fresh herb and nut stuffing bread that I think will be just delicious. So stay tuned. So truly one of the best investments, and I've showed it many times in videos, is my Food Saver vacuum sealer. And I do have the attachments to seal jars. So there's a couple ways that I have done herbs after they've dried. I did get my 2 dehydrators full and running, so got that monkey off my back for this morning. So I do want to save this bread that I just spoke about, and I want to share with you a way that you can preserve your homemade bread and not just wait for it to mold. You know, only cooking for myself, it can be a challenge to always home cook. You know, it would be far easier to go through a drive-through, but I've made a commitment to myself to try to cook as much as I can, eat healthy, and eat off what I produce. And I don't produce enough to feed me year round. Let me be really clear on that. So, Great Value has twist tie bags, bread bags. So, I guess I already pulled those out. I'm actually gonna start there, but isn't this a gorgeous loaf of bread? So all the little dots are the sesame seeds. Very nutritious, very filling, but there's a limit to how much bread I can eat. And as I shared, I believe in an earlier video, I was completely under the weather over the weekend, and this is not a light bread that I was able to stomach. So it did not get eaten as quickly. So first thing I'm gonna do is just get as much of the air out as I can. I'm gonna put it in one twist tie bag. And these are super inexpensive, guys. A couple bucks and you get 100 bags. So I'm gonna take another bag and go the other direction. Again, squeezing out the air. I'm gonna have to see if this loaf is too big for, I think it will go in. Let's see. Okay, that's gonna be too big. Let me see if I have bigger bags. Hang tight. And yes, I do. So one of the nice things about the Food Saver vacuum, and I will leave a link in the description box below to my Amazon affiliate store, is you have a choice of bag size. So I have the medium, which I generally will just leave in the Food Saver because it will close if the roll isn't too large. There is a small, there is a large, there may even be an extra large. That might be a little bit overkill, but that's what we're gonna do. So the first thing you wanna do, feed your bag in and simply hit seal, because we need to seal up that end first before we put our bread in and vacuum seal it. Now, it does rash your bread just a little bit, but I found if you cut it out of the vacuum packaging and let it thaw unsqueezed, it does not hydrate, but it turns much more normal size and shape. So overkill on the size, but that's okay. Then when you're ready, you just simply feed the bag in and it will suck all of the air out and seal the bag. So this did not actually do a bad job as far as squeezing the bread too tightly. I'm actually pretty pleased. I have had it distort the bread pretty significantly, but this is a dense bread, so it's very, very suitable for freezing. So I'm going to label this, put it out in my freezer, clear up my mess here, and let's get to making some delicious herbal bread. Stay tuned. So for this fresh herb and nut stuffing bread from the Bread Machine Cookbook, I have gone out and harvested a whole bunch of beautiful sage, some thyme, lots of rosemary, a little bit of oregano slipped in there. And what you need is 3/4 cup finely chopped herbs. So I'm gonna work on getting these off the stem, finely diced and measured out into about a 3/4 cup increment. All right, well, I have my 3/4 cup chopped fresh herbs, and I went really heavy on the rosemary, so I think you could do it really any combo that you enjoy. So I am going to be making the 2-pound loaf in my Zojirushi. Let me tip you just a little more. So this is what the pan looks like. So it looks like a loaf of bread, and then I will snap it in when I get all the ingredients in. So we're gonna start out with 1.5 cups plus 1 tablespoon of water. And then we're going to add to that 2 tablespoons of walnut oil. Now, if you don't have a bread machine, you can certainly do this in a mixer, let it rise twice, by hand, let it rise twice. This is just, I have so much to do today, guys. This is how I'm gonna make it. So that smells great. Okay, on top, we are next gonna add our 4 cups of bread flour. So since this does have some walnuts in it, I'm gonna choose not to put oats in place of some of the bread flour. So that's 1. 2. 3. And our final cup of bread flour, 4. And I'm just taking a knife and kind of distributing this a little more evenly. All right, to that, we are going to add a 1.5 tablespoons of light brown sugar. I'm just gonna kind of spread that across. And I'm kind of guesstimating. I don't think the sugar part has to be exact. That's good. All right. Let me rinse this off here. So what's your weather like right now? You know, we had a little fall tease with some really cool nights, like upper 40s. And I was so excited thinking, no more heat waves. Yeah. That didn't work out so much. All right, to this mixture, we're gonna go ahead and add our finely minced fresh herbs. I was super excited when I found this recipe because everything I could locate was all like pre-dehydrated herbs, and I wanted to use them fresh today. All right, to that, we're gonna add a 1/3 cup walnuts, and these are just good grief, Grower Direct California walnuts. And this is pieces. You know, that doesn't actually look like enough, so I'm gonna throw a little more in that. Because nut's good. All right, 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of Vital Wheat gluten. And I've shared this before. You can order that from Amazon if you can't find it in your local stores. I have never been able to find it in my local store. And what this does is it helps your bread to rise better. Tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon. Really makes a difference in how your bread comes out, in my opinion. All right. Next is 2 teaspoons of salt. So I do not like my salt and yeast to come in contact with each other, so I usually make a well at either end, and I'm gonna drop 1 teaspoon in each end. And guys, I'm not gonna measure, I'm gonna guesstimate. My salt is almost empty, this particular canister, and so it's kind of hard to get that spoon down in there, so yeah, just come close, that'll be fine, right? And then finally, 2.5 teaspoons SAF yeast or 1 tablespoon of bread machine yeast. So let me grab my SAF out of the freezer. So 2.5 teaspoons. And I'm actually, let me kind of push that over the salt, dig a hole a little bit in the middle. That's just how I do it. I think it works a little better. 1, 2.5. Okay, easy as pie, except for the huge mess I always manage to make. So let me kind of clear up this countertop. And you want to use the basic cycle of your bread machine. Set your crust on dark, so that will give it a longer baking time. I'm just gonna hook in this. And I'm going to set it for basic. I'm going to set my crust control to dark and push start. And in a short few hours, I'm going to have a delicious loaf of bread. I'll bring you back to share it. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Our bread has just signaled that it's ready, and it usually takes between 3 hours and 10 minutes and 3 hours and 40 minutes, kind of depending on what type of bread you make and how dark you want your crust. So I wish you all could smell in here. It smells amazingly like rosemary. So let me pull over my cooling rack and I will show you just how easy it is to remove that loaf. You simply just twist the pan towards you. Plug this here. And there you have the gorgeous loaf of bread. So let's see if this, sometimes this will come out easily, sometimes not. One little shake. Hot pan off of the counter. Oh, look how gorgeous that is. So just to give you an idea, there's my hand. So it's a pretty good sized loaf of bread. It rises very tall. This is a 2-pound loaf. So I'll be cutting it once it cools enough. That's always the hardest part. And putting some delicious butter on and enjoying a slice of bread for an afternoon snack. So thank you for watching today. I do have some more videos in the queue, so should be up to date all week this week, I trust. I have had some challenges. Mom's caregiver was away 5 of 10 days, which makes it a little more challenging for me because I cover any of my mom's needs while the caregiver is not working. So hopefully things will continue to go as planned. I don't see Hanky Panky Frankie. I think he's taking a nap. You would think the smell would wake him up. So as always, be healthy, be well, be blessed, and I'll see y'all very soon. Take care.